Welcome back to another episode of What's Haunting the Hearsts. In this episode, I want to bring back kind of a fond memory for me. Maybe something that a lot of people aren't too fond of, or at least didn't have positive memories of. But in 2016, we had the killer clown Hysteria that just went across the country. And I mean, it consumed the latter part of 2016, starting, I believe, in August. And I think it started in North Carolina, maybe South Carolina, one of the Carolinas, though. And it spread to a couple other countries, but it was big time. Everybody talked about it, everybody knew about it, everybody saw pictures, heard of incidents, and all of this, and there was genuine fear among some people that there was either a real clown cult out there, or just independent killers dressed as clowns that were taking the opportunity of this hysteria to either scare people, bring harm to people, kidnap people, all kinds of different possibilities in that. And I thought in this video we would talk about that year and maybe clowns in general and why people are afraid of them. And so let's chat. So, as I said, it did bring fear to a good number of people. Especially anybody that would be driving alone, maybe on a lonely road at night, and the fear of possibly seeing a clown. Maybe you come to a stop sign and or a red light in a small town, and it's very dark, and you slow down. You start to wonder to yourself, could this happen to me? What would happen? How would I react? What would I do if an insane clown jumped out at me? Ultimately, most of it was just a big hoax. People dressed up like clowns, but it was planned for videos, and it was just pranks, mostly. Just teenagers having fun. Which, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no problem with that. Like I said, I was actually very excited when people started talking about the killer clown sightings. I remember I was so disappointed because I wanted to see one so bad. I would purposely go out of my way to take roads I hadn't taken before when driving home at night, hoping to just come across one of these spooky clowns. And I thought I had one night. One of my kids, I think it was my oldest son, Benjamin, had a toothache, and he was just feeling awful. And it was like 2 a.m. We couldn't get him to go to sleep, and I said, you know what, I'll drive to one of the 24-hour pharmacies and buy some Oragel or something, and we can, give him some relief till we can get him seen. So I took off, and there's this road that I go down that It's pretty isolated, and a lot of woods, both sides of it. And as I was driving up the road, it's a curvy road where I started coming around a curve. My headlights flashed on something red that was moving across the road. And, I think most people, I think a bit of fear might spark them. A cat might walk across the camera pretty soon. And this is Ryder. He's investigating this video. But he, Ryder, just take your time, buddy. But I got really excited because in my mind, I said to myself, this is the day. This is the day I'm going to see a killer clown. Ryder, are you wanting to say hi to our viewers? Ryder doesn't like killer clowns, do you? No. He doesn't like me much, to be honest with you. But I thought this is the day. I'm going to finally see the killer clowns that I keep hearing about. And I went around the corner and went up the street. And sure enough, I saw a pair of red pants. And I'm like, oh, this is it. Yeah. But it turned out when I got up closer that it was just two teenage guys. Of course, who knows what two teenagers are doing that are out at 2 a.m. walking around. Maybe at one point they were dressed as clowns, up to no good. They probably weren't up to any good at 2 a.m. But the guy had a pair of red pants on and like a white t-shirt. So ultimately I was disappointed. But not much came out of the real killer clown incidents. There's several arrests. But like I said, most of it was just pranks or just, set up stage stuff in order to get views on like a YouTube channel or maybe a website. It kind of not mocked, but really followed a pattern that these guys had used in England in 2013, where, like, I think it was Northampton, England. There was this clown that kept being spotted. He was like holding these black balloons. He looked a lot like Pennywise from It, and he kept being seen around Northampton. And I was like, boy, this is, I love it. I love creepy stuff. I couldn't get enough of it, but it turned out it was just a few guys that were drawing attention to, I think they were drawing attention to a website. There was other incidents elsewhere that were drawing attention to like a low budget film of some sort. But it didn't all go away without harm. There was one story, and all you need is one story for it to be bad enough to mention. I mean, nobody died, but there was somebody hurt. A man and his brother, and I think they had 2 or 3 other adult women with them, and I think they had their wives and like maybe a sister. But there was like 4 or 5 kids there too. And they were driving in Orange County, Florida. And the 2 brothers were driving the truck, or, riding in the front of the truck, and everybody else was in the bed of the truck. And it was nighttime, and it was Halloween night. And they came up to a stoplight, and I think the light had turned green as soon as they got to it, but they noticed that on the crosswalk, there was a group of people standing at the crosswalk. They were like hitting the crosswalk button as if they wanted to cross the street. But they all were dressed up And the witnesses that were there, namely the family, said that they were all wearing purge masks and killer clown masks. Well, as the family drove past the group of 20 people, that the group threw something at the truck, hitting the back of the truck. They didn't hit anybody, but you have to remember there's people riding in the back of the truck. So they stop the truck, and the two brothers get out to confront the group. Well, they first got out to make sure the kids were okay. And then they went to confront the group. Well, the group just went in a frenzy. And they had weapons, not like guns, but they had bats and other things. And they beat the living daylights out of the two brothers. One of the wives got the truck and drove away from the mob and called the police. One of the brothers was able to get away from the fight, and the other brother got beat up pretty bad. They had to be seen at the hospital, get stitches, get some of their wounds tended to. But it was a real incident. If you're going to see a clown, it's probably better to see one than 30 or 20, as in that instance. But maybe check on the kids a few miles down the road instead of stopping right in front of the group, especially if you're unarmed and not ready to take care of yourself against 20 people. But that happened. But like I said, it kind of ended without much incident the whole year. It started late in the year, like I said, around August of 2016. But it brought out the fear that people have of clowns, and I don't think it's clowns. I understand that clowns have something to do with it, but I think it's what the clown represents. It's a person. Back in the day, I used to watch a show called Bozo the Clown, and I loved Bozo the Clown. Shoot, we go to McDonald's. Ronald McDonald is a clown. I was never afraid of either one of those clowns. I still buy burgers from one of them. But clowns paint their faces very joyfully, most of them. And so if you think about it, you don't know the real person behind the mask. You don't know the real person. You don't know what their true feelings are because they're hiding it behind a mask. And that's dangerous. And it leads me to something very, a fear of mine, a real fear. Like I said, I talk about investigations and going out and doing investigations, and I'm going to do that. It's not just a want; it's going to happen. Right now is not the ideal time. It's burning up hot. I have kids I have to look out for. I'm going to take my kids with me. They enjoy this kind of stuff. I don't want to take them in copperhead season and tick season. I would much rather go when the forest is less dense, when some of the leaves die out and some of the the undergrowth and the denseness of the forest will kind of dissipate with the coming of fall and winter. And that's when I would really like to do our investigations. But the real fear that I have in investigations is not finding a Bigfoot or any of these cryptids that I've mentioned. Even though I'm sure it would be a fearful experience to see one, the real fear is finding a person. Because with all the craziness today, really all the craziness throughout time. The horrific actions that are perpetrated by people, human beings, far outweigh the scary stuff that you hear about ghost stories. And a person that wishes to disguise themselves is even scarier because they feel a relative safety behind that mask. Even during the COVID pandemic, when I work at a place where we had to wear a mask, and many people did. Many people worked at places like that, and I had to wear a mask every day. And I felt a degree, I'll be honest, I felt a degree of, I don't know if it was safety, but I felt more secure because a good part of my face was covered up and only my eyes were there. So it was easier, I felt, to express myself to people, or at least tell my thoughts to people, because they couldn't see my reaction. If I was angry at somebody, you weren't going to see it in my eyes, but maybe I'm giving an angry expression under my mask, and you couldn't readily identify their emotion. And there was something about that I liked, but it was me hiding my true self. So that's the scary thing about a clown is, are they really as joyful as what they appear in their appearance? Or is there something darker beneath all the makeup and the bright colors? Think of John Wayne Gacy, one of the most famous serial killers known in this world, killed at least 33 people. He worked as a clown. That wasn't his only job, but he had 2 clown outfits. I only have been able to find a picture of him in one, and that's Pogo the clown. And this clown had a smile on its face. And he said he felt more joyful in a Pogo costume. He was like, but Patches was his other costume, and he said Patches had a more sorrowful, ambiance about him. I didn't find any pictures of him in the Patches costume. I have seen the Patches costume. But there you are. You have a serial killer that hid behind a clown persona. So it's not the clown. It's what's behind the clown. The person. And that should truly terrify us. How free people feel to perpetuate horrible things when their identity and their emotions are covered up. It's pretty scary. Obviously 2016 probably was fueled by Stephen King's It as well, which was, let's be honest, the book wasn't that great. I didn't like it. The original movie was okay. The newer movies are a little bit better, but still just kind of okay, in my opinion. It's not Stephen King's best work, but that was a more supernatural clown, though. The really scary clowns are the ones that are real people that you can't read. Later on this week, I want to interview the newest member of What's Haunting the Hearst. Now, this person's a charter member of this Hearst family, but she just agreed this weekend to become a member of the What's Haunting the Hearst investigative group. She's my wife, Catherine. The interesting thing about this is she is a skeptic. She doesn't believe in this Bigfoot stuff, and my goal is to convert her to belief in this. But I think it's good for an investigative group to have a skeptic of some sort in it. I don't know if any of you all watched that show Finding Bigfoot back in the day. It had a bunch of seasons. I thought it was interesting. I really did. They were genuine. It wasn't a fake show. These were real, genuine Bigfoot hunters. And they were the BFRO, the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. Every time they would go out, though, they had this woman there that didn't necessarily she didn't disbelieve in Bigfoot. She just didn't believe everything that was reported. So every episode they had her, and she was a skeptical person, and she would have to be convinced with a lot of evidence before she would give way. And maybe this group needs that, but she needs to show her face on this camera, though. She needs to come and do an interview, and we're going to do that this week. She doesn't know it yet. I guess she'll know it after she watches this video. But we'll interview her and ask her about some of the topics that we've already discussed and get her thoughts on it. But thank you. Listen, guys, you got us over 200 subscribers. I mean, that's awesome. You got us over 200 subscribers. We're edging up. I mean, we're getting close to 40,000 views on the channel. Thank you so much. Continue to like and subscribe. And we're going to keep bringing content and hopefully some stuff that you really like. I mean, we're on the precipice. Next month is August. This is my birthday week. I turned 40 years old this coming Saturday. 40 years old. And after that, I mean, we're edging up on fall. And that's investigation time. So I'm looking forward to that. But thank you. Continue watching our videos. Like and subscribe. And continue checking in with us. We've got a Facebook page, What's Haunting the Hearsts. I've got a link to our Facebook page, I believe, yes. And if you click on our channel and go to About, the About tab on the channel, it'll give the link to the Facebook page. Otherwise, if you're on Facebook, just type in What's Haunting the Hearst, it'll bring you to the page. And we share our latest videos, and we've also asked on the page, and I'm going to start asking in the videos, if you have a topic, an investigation, an experience that you want us to either go and investigate, or experience the story, or anything that you want us to talk about on What's Haunting the Hearst, email us at what'shauntingthehearst@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to look into it. Thank you, and we'll keep everybody updated with new videos, and I hope you have a wonderful week and a blessed rest of your Sunday. Thank you.